I'm going to try to make this video again. These two are XL automatics. This is what started the Super XL, XL12, out of the XL12 and Super XL series. These first appeared in '65 and went to '67. The XL12 first appeared in '63, and this was pretty much the first automatic version of the, and larger piston size of the XL12. It's a 58cc automatic oiler with manual override, ran from '65 to '67. '68, this is the XL automatic, 58cc Super XL automatic. So it went from red, green, and white to blue and white. And that's a '68 first year. This is 72. Not too near the end, but close. 75, maybe late '74, the XL, Super XL automatics went to red and black. Some '74s might have been. This is the XL 500. I have 3 of those, and one of them is a Terry saw. In fact, I have 3 of these XL automatics too, and this one's a Terry saw, and the other one's restored. But that's a Terry XL automatic. They made, though Terry didn't make the blue Super XL automatics. They made this in red, green, and white up until the mid to late '70s. So this, but it didn't come out until the late '60s, maybe '68, '69, '70, after the run of these was already done. Back to the XL 500. That's a 65cc, no, 75cc saw, 74.5cc saw. I have 3 of those, 2 of them restored, and one of them's a Canadian version, which is really rare. These are really super hard to come by. These were made in 1 year only in Canada by Terry, and in Homelite US. Virtually shares almost all the same parts with the XL automatic, but piston and cylinder. Great saw. This is a VI 955. I have the whole color group, so to speak, on these. I have the VI 922, the VI 292, VI 944s, and this VI 955, which this one is an electronic ignition. The others are all points ignition. These are 82cc saws. This would be a XL 400, which is a Terry-made saw. This one is, and it's a 72. These are 68cc saws. They only ran 71 and 72, I believe. Yeah, 71 and 72. This is a 71. The 72s had rubber grips. 71s didn't. It looks like the 72s that might be, I'm not sure if that's plastic or Bakelite, and these are metal. Here we have an XL 800 AM. That's an early model. That's prior to the fall of '67, because there's not bolts to hold on the case together. See, after the fall of '67, cases weren't cemented, they were bolted. So this is probably a '66 saw. That's a 82C automatic oiler, manual override. And this is a '68 Homelite XL 870. This is a hard to come by saw. It has a full wrap handle. It has a solid state ignition like the 850, but these were a little different. These had a little different type of ignition, electronic ignition. And as you can see, it has the manual oiler on the back versus underneath. So the piston for the automatic oiler was on the other side. Later, 68, they brought them back here. And this is a 60, early 68 XL850. Again, you can tell by the screw holes holding the tank together. Electronic ignition, 82cc, manual oiler, and manual override. This is a Terry saw here, a 68, which is a very hard to come by saw, XL902AM. Very nice saw from Canada, made in Canada. And this would be an XL903, built in the late 60s, maybe 69. And this was unusual because instead of the choke being on the back right side here, the choke was over here on the XL 903, 904, and 901 manual oiler. This is where your choke was. And on most all the other XL series, the choke is over here. That one also has a full wrap handle. Down here we have a real hard to come by Super XL 902, which I believe is maybe an electronic version of the XL 902. It retained the manual oiler over here, even though it was a later saw, and very hard to come by saw. You don't see much. This would be a XL 923. That would be I want to say a 73 saw it is, and that was a pretty popular saw, but you don't see a lot of them. Notice that they started getting rubber handles on here into the early 70s. Same with the XL 924. This is an XL 924W, which means it was Western version, which means it came with the spike and a full wrap handle. This would be a Super XL 922. This is a Terry saw, this was the same version, I believe, as the Super XL 925, except made a little earlier, probably in the earliest part of the 70s, whereas these came out in 74. Every Super XL 925 was made by Terry in Canada. I think they gave them that contract to help boost their production, because without that, they wouldn't have had a lot of production. That's where that is. This is a 100 or 112 cc Super 2100. This one has a 7/8 inch clutch on it, which is hard to find. 36 inch 404 Duratip. And this is a Super 1050, later model. I think this one came out in the early 90s, 36 inch sprocket tip bar, 100 cc saw. Now we'll move on over to this side here. This is a nice example of a 550 with a full wrap handle and the double dog spikes. And behind it is a nice example of 450 with the double spikes on it as well. And then a really nice original 410 SL, which was, and it had a safety lever, chain brake, which are hard to find. That is a Textron saw too, which wasn't a Terry saw. And next we have a XL 700 AM, probably one of the rarest Homelite saws. I've only seen a couple of these. This was a XL 700 1966 saw, automatic oiler with manual override. Just didn't see these saws. They only made them 1 year in Canada for Homelite Terry, and not very many of them. The US version was called the XL 700 AM. I don't even know if I've ever seen one of those. Here's what working saw I have. That's a Homelite XL Big Red. This was made in like 94, 95, one of the very last Homelite built saws before they sold to John Deere. And back here is a Homelite 350P, which was meant it was, well, the 350Ps were only built in Canada. That's a Canadian 350. Homelite made the same saw in the mid-70s and called it the 350. The 350 Pro was the Canadian version of that saw. This is another XL 800 AM, and a lot of these aren't marked AM. They're just habit, and they are an AM because there's a manual override lever. Some of these did not have this pump or this lever. They were just automatic oilers without manual override, and so a lot of them were dealer added. But this one is all original, and it's early because there's no bolt holes. This was a cemented case, and what you do see here is this case has never been split or welded, which is fantastic. This will be my next restore job, and the cover is really in nice shape, which is a good plus. Up here we have a 71 Homelite XL, or no, just a 150, and that's an automatic oiler, adjustable oiler. They're automatic oilers, but in 70 they came out. See, this is 70 or 71, and the first year they came out in oh yeah, here it is, 1971. Yeah, 71 they came out with an adjustable oiler on it, and 72 they left the adjustable oiler off. So those are the first 2 years they made it. In 73 they turned to red. So those are the first 3 years of 150s. Here we have a XL 102, which, oh, XL 102 automatic, which is very hard to find. It's they made an XL2 manual oiler, but this is the automatic oiler with manual override version of that. I have 2 of those. One's completely restored. And behind it is a VI 130, which is a Canadian version, or no, that's a VI 123. And that's an American-made saw, vibration isolated, 58cc saw. And we also have the Super Mini here, and this was an early model, and this was a 77 model here, the Super Mini, and then this was an 81 model. So basically the same saw, but different years. And you can see this one, the bar comes back to the handle, the vibration isolated. This one just hooks to here. So they were a little different. They were both had automatic oilers with manual overrides. Somebody has removed the pump here, which will get replaced. Down here we have a series of the Canadian Super XLs and VI and XL 130s. We have the VI 130, Super XL 130, and the XL 130, and the XL 76. All those were Terry-built, Canadian-built saws. Down here we have an XL 113 and an XL 103. These were automatic oiler, 58cc, points ignition, and their brothers were to the XL 113 was the XL 114, which had automatic, they call pulsar ignition, and the XL 104, which is an automatic with electronic ignition. So that's the 103, 104, 113, 114 series. Down here we have the back row, the EZ 250. One's a 71, the other 72. The mufflers were a little different, but these were the only 2 years of the EZ 250 with the chain tensioner on the side where you could tension it manually. Not a popular saw. The design wasn't very popular. Didn't work that well. This is the first easy automatic in red, early easy automatic. I think that's about a 39cc saw, 38. And then the super easy, which is a 40.9cc saw. That's a fairly early super easy